Good day, everybody. This is Yin Yang in California with Morsels of a Thought number 1657. Today it is a Wednesday, so I like to try to go into words and wisdom. I don't have a one word thing for you today like I did last time about power. Well, it wasn't last time, I suppose. But we want to read from the Tao Te Ching. The Tao was written it was written, when was it written? 2,500 years ago. 2,500 years ago. Let me just check and make sure I have my facts straight here. Yes, 2,500 years ago. 2,500 years ago. So he was 500 years before Christ, as a matter of fact. Oh my gosh. Hmm. Wow. He was an older contemporary of Confucius. Anyway, so fame or integrity. This is number 44 of the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu, translated by Stephen Mitchell. And we are reading from the English translation by Stephen Mitchell. Fame or integrity, which is more important? Money or happiness, which is more valuable? Success or failure, which is more destructive? Let's go into that. Fame or integrity? Integrity is more important. Money or happiness? Happiness is more valuable. Success or failure? Which is more destructive? Sometimes success can really hurt people too. Hmm. If you look to others for fulfillment, you will never be truly fulfilled. If your happiness depends on money, you will never be happy with yourself. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. Hmm. So, I am here to give you morsels of a thought of wisdom. And what we do is we glean wisdom from others that have written about their whole life experiences. So we're reading something that's encapsulating a whole 70-year-old life, and they tell you something. It gives you a lot of energy to go ahead, and you're standing on the shoulder of a giant. That you're standing on the shoulders of a giant at that point, because you learn from them. You learn from the people that have spent 70 years gaining that knowledge for you, and they give it to you. That's amazing. Number 45. True perfection seems imperfect, yet it is perfectly itself. True fullness seems empty, yet it is fully present. True straightness seems crooked. True wisdom seems foolish. True art seems artless. The master allows things to happen. She shapes things as they come. She steps out of the way and lets the Tao speak for itself. Can you imagine a cartoon of a little mouse cartoon character, and, like, let's say the Roadrunner, for example, and the Wild E. Coyote is pushing a boulder off the top of a cliff, a precipice, to try to kill the Roadrunner. The Roadrunner is standing there, meep, meep, and then stands over, moves over, like that, right? That is what Lao Tzu means, as it says, she steps out of the way and lets the Tao speak for itself. As the boulder falls, I have just slid over as I'm standing, and the Tao speaks for itself. The boulder crashes, and trees fall. And there you are. You're still standing. steps out of the way. Hmm. 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 When a country is in harmony with the Tao, the factories make trucks and tractors. 2,500 years ago, they made trucks and tractors? Oh, right, because the definition of a truck was so different and tractors was different. When a country goes counter to the Tao, warheads are stockpiled outside the cities. There is no greater illusion than fear, no greater wrong. Excuse me. Oh my God. You have no idea. There is no greater illusion than fear, no greater wrong than preparing to defend yourself, no greater misfortune than having an enemy. Whoever can see through all fear will always be safe. That was number 46. I'm going to read that again because when a country is in harmony with the Tao, the factories make trucks and tractors. When a country goes counter to the Tao, warheads are stockpiled outside the cities. There is no greater illusion than fear, no greater wrong than preparing to defend yourself, no greater misfortune than having an enemy. Whoever can see through all fear will always be safe. Number 47. Without opening your door, you can open your heart to the world. Without looking out your window, you can see the essence of the Tao. The more you know, the less you understand. The master arrives without leaving, sees the light without looking, achieves without doing a thing. I want to show you some of the paintings that they have in the background here. Over here, some of these paintings are wide and flat, so they're very long horizontally. And this one here. And this is a bunch of cherry blossoms. This is a bunch of, well, they may not be cherry blossoms, but they're a bunch of blossoms. No, I don't know what they are. But this is somewhere in China. Somebody painted this. Each one of those brush strokes, each one of those flowers is a single brush stroke. 2 petals, 2 brush strokes. That's it. These mountains are in the southern part of China in a province in Guilin, Guangxi, 东南西北, Guangzhou, Guangxi, Guangdong, Nan-Xi-Bei. Yeah, it's Guangxi province. And it's in the southern tip of that province, Guilin. And as a matter of fact, I've seen films of Vietnamese plots, and they have the same mountains in Vietnam. So I guess south of China, those are those mountains. And this is a bunch of rocks this is mountains and rocks. And try to read the Chinese. Not that I can read Chinese at all. It's a poem. That much I can see. It's about life and days in forests. And about the Tao. This is also a painting here on this page. This is a good book, An Illustrated Journey. The Tao Te Ching, An Illustrated Journey. That's actually the whole title of the book. I have never read you the whole title of the book. I've always said it was the Tao Te Ching, and I have never said that it was an illustrated journey like it is here, like it is this book. Okay, number 40. Before we go to that, I try to give you something to know what to do in your life. And I give you sometimes a breathing exercise and sometimes a grounding exercise. It's very important to ground yourself before you even think about what to do, because your mind is built that way. When you ground yourself, it's easier to do um, things calmly, smoothly. Just like here, the master allows things to happen. She shapes events as they come. She steps out of the way and lets it all speak for itself. If she had been thinking too hard and not grounded, she would not have stepped out of the way because she wouldn't have seen the boulder coming. You see? Okay, number 48. In the pursuit of knowledge, every day something is added. In the practice of the Tao, every day something is dropped. Less and less do you need to force things until finally you arrive at non action when nothing is done. Nothing is left undone. True mastery can be gained by letting things go their own way. It can't be gained by interfering. Huh. In the pursuit of knowledge, every day something is added. That is really, really the case. In the practice of the Tao, every day something is dropped. I don't get that. Less and less do you need to force things until finally you arrive at non action. It means in the practice of the Tao, the more you have in the every day something is dropped. There's less and less to do, is what it is. When nothing is done, nothing is left undone. When nothing is done, nothing is left undone. True mastery can be gained by letting things go their own way. It can't be gained by interfering. 49. The master has no mind of her own. She works with the mind of the people. She is good to people who are good. She is also good to people who aren't good. This is true goodness. She trusts people who are trustworthy. She also trusts people who aren't trustworthy. This is true trust. The master's mind is like space. People don't understand her. They look to her and wait. She treats them like her own children. You do have to treat people like your own children in order to master them. But when you treat them by like your own children, what it means is that you bring up a lot of tolerance. I want to mention that this here is a rock. It's a very vertical, tall rock. It's probably standing about 20 feet tall. And it is indeed rippled like that. It's gray. I don't know the name of it, but there is such a rock in China I have seen. If you want to go see rocks in China, there is a Suzhou rock garden. There's a rock garden in the city of Suzhou, Suzhou, in the province of Jiangsu, which is near Shanghai. Near Shanghai, Suzhou is very near to Shanghai. There's a rock garden. So, morsels of a thought of wisdom. Here we have more. We have fish. This is the Japanese have names for these fish. They call them koi. These are fish. In Chinese, we call them fish. And these are the interesting thing is that the Japanese distill a lot of um, the cultural what are the words for it? The cultural treasures in China when they're brought over to Japan. The Japanese learn to distill and reproduce them in such a way that they see, for example, if you see a Japanese fan and you look at a Chinese fan, the fan is full of slats, But a Japanese fan has fewer slats because they use fewer wooden materials to make them. So the Japanese re-engineer some things. And so having a koi garden, um, it's the focus on the fish. Interesting. Number 50, the master gives himself up to whatever the moment brings. He knows that he is going to die and he has nothing left to hold on to. No illusions in his mind, no resistances in his body. He doesn't think about his actions. They flow from the core of his being. He holds nothing back from life. Therefore, he is ready for death, as a man who is ready for sleep after a good day's work. Hmm. I've known people who are like that, who are very, very high achieving and who are so calm about life and death being there. It's just there. Someday I'm going to die. I already know that. And someday the world will be here without me. And so, whatever work I have done, I try to record it, like here. So, what you are seeing, it will be available to be seen even after I die. So, the master gives himself up to whatever the moment brings. He knows that he is going to die and he has nothing left to hold on to, no illusions in his mind, no resistances in his body. And I want to say that on her deathbed, my mother had no resistances. She was just there with her eyes closed, either smiling or not smiling, depending on what thoughts I put into her mind. I made her laugh on her deathbed. You know, that was an interesting achievement because she was eating and I said something funny that she had been laughing at since I was 2. I was able to say something that she thought was the most hilarious thing. At the time that it occurred when I was 2, I said something. It had something to do with using a bathroom. Um, and she she had to collapse into a chair and laugh. She was in paroxysms of laughter. And then on her deathbed, I said the same thing, and she spat out a drop of the food and lay back down. That was her laugh, like the like that. That was her laugh. And she was prepared. She knew she was going to die. And so I tried to make it as easy as possible. I brought her a photo of myself when I was her baby and when she was carrying it and she was in her full opera outfit. I have actually shown it here before. And she smiled for 2 or 3 days during that time. She was smiling when I came back the following day. She was smiling when I came back the day after that. And it was her smiling in her sleep. It was interesting. I just wish that I had been able to make it happen to the last moment as well. But with the way things were run in that particular convalescent home, um, they wouldn't allow a visit to last longer than 10 minutes. So I had to leave her, and she was ready more than I was. And then that's how it went. Number 51 of the Tao Te Ching. Every being in the universe is an expression of the Tao. It springs into existence. Yay! Unconscious, perfect, free, takes on a physical body, lets circumstances complete it. That is why every being spontaneously honors the Tao without knowing it. The Tao gives birth to all beings, nourishes them, maintains them, cares for them, comforts them, protects them, takes them back to itself, creating without possessing, acting without expecting, guiding without interfering. This is why love of the Tao is in the very nature of things. Love of the Tao. Love of the Tao. Tao means the way. And if you love the way things are is part of the Tao. The way you are is part of the Tao. The fact that you're born is an expression of the Tao. You sprang into existence, you were unconscious of the Tao, you were perfect, you were free, you were taking on a physical body. You let circumstances complete you. If you needed to go to the bathroom, you went to the bathroom. If you needed to eat, you needed to eat. That's why every being spontaneously honors the Tao. The Tao gives birth to all beings, nourishes them, maintains them, cares for them, comforts them, protects them, takes them back to itself. That means that we, no matter how badly we are, even if we are enslaved, that is the Tao. And it takes it back to itself, takes us back to itself, which means that that's how eventually we perish, we die. Creating without possessing. So the Tao doesn't own us and say, okay, you are going to do the Tao. No. Acting without expecting, guiding without interfering. So when we're hungry, we eat. When we don't, when we're thirsty, we drink. That is acting without expecting, guiding without interfering, the Tao. That is why love of the Tao is in the very nature of things. I think it really means that is how the nature of the Tao, the how, that is how love of the Tao is in the very nature of things. I think the word should have been how, How. Anyway, okay, so here we are. We have read up to number 51, and I will show you. Oh, we read that one. And here's this is a poem. This is more the poetry than the painting. I don't know if you can see it. Here we are. And then next time we read the Tao, may or may not be right away. We have read almost all of these. I think we've read a lot of these. We will start on number 57 the next time. And here I'll show you the painting of it. Holy, this. It's amazing, I think. Okay, I'm going to close with a little breath. 2 breaths. Breathing slowly in, deeply and evenly. Breathing out slowly, deeply, evenly, and something else I can't remember. Breathing in, slowly, deeply, smoothly, and wait, I can't remember. But keep breathing, keep breathing, keep breathing. And now exhale. There we are. Okay, I hope you have had a great day. I hope you will have a great day. And I'll talk to you later. Okay? Old Kinderhook.